I happen to have the Chester expert here. You've done a full cover of Given Up, which is just, I mean... killer.
Thanks.
And so part of having you here, I was like, I have got to get Andy to do a full vocal analysis of Given Up. So we've chosen a live version that's just blistering. I am so looking forward to hearing you break down and demonstrate what Chester's doing.
Oh, let's get into it. Absolute kings.
Waking a sweat again. Another day's been laid to waste. In my disgrace. Stuck in my head again. Feels like I'll never leave this place. There's no escape.
So let's talk a little bit about his approach there. How would you describe what he's doing right there with that grid? That's lower in his range.
Yeah, and I think it's sort of a middle ground between that lower and higher constriction distortion, you know, there's no escape, right? So it's on, there's no escape, and it's like, there's no, you know, there's no escape. It's kind of this middle, sort of throat singing type grit.
Compression-based escape.
Yeah, about there.
I'm my own worst enemy. I've given up. I'm sick of feeling. Is there nothing you can say? Take this all away. I'm suffocated. Tell me what the fuck is wrong.
All right. Wow.
Every time I hear a different version or even the same version, it just gives me chills. His tone, the sheen over his voice.
The sheen, I like that, yeah. Yeah, a lot of stuff happening there, too. I think more now he's sort of traveling up into that higher fry, upper sensation, constriction, distortion, you know. Up! But it's not fully up there. It's still a little bit, you know, kind of in the middle.
We have this range of engagement, right? It's not either or. You can move it and use combinations of false chord, of, you know, middle engagement, middle constriction, upper constriction, and you can move this around. That's what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you go, you know, low to high, it's somewhere in the middle. Up, it's about right there.
And remove the voice there.
Yeah, that becomes just as... There's almost no more voice. You know, what the fuck is wrong? It's like 90% distortion, you know?
And it's pretty clean before wrong. I love how he removes his voice from wrong.
Yeah, he's just going back and forth very fluidly, leaning into that distortion more and more.
Not only can Andy bring it and do it when it comes to the style of Chester Bennington, he can teach it. And if you're interested in going deeper, Chester and beyond, with all of these styles that you see him engaging with right here, click the link below in the pinned comment or the video description and start by joining his free warm-ups course. You must be properly warmed up and of the right mind state in order to start learning some of these techniques. Can you go clean into wrong?
Yeah. Tell me what the fuck is wrong, right?
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong? What the fuck is wrong? What the fuck is wrong? So there's different layers and dimensions of leaning into that.
And break up or break down the wrong distortion. What are you doing there?
Yeah.
Help me get there, because I don't have that in my voice.
Right. So typically with this upper sensation fry feeling, a lot of times it's like, hey, you know, you're right.
Okay.
So what I'm doing is I'm actually sort of sending that feeling, that sensation up more into like my cheeks and my upper lip. That's where I feel like it's resonating. And instead I'm going, hey, wow, I'm up here. You know, it's like, wow, you kind of squeak into it with your head voice.
So I can get it from my chest voice, but I really have trouble accessing it from my head voice.
And this kind of thing takes a little while to develop. Like for me, it started out, I would just sort of like yodel back and forth until you find that point. Yeah.
So it's another transitional thing, just like I've talked about on the channel.
Yeah.
But that's weightier than what you're doing.
Yeah, mine's a little higher and lighter. You know, it's got this top shine to it.
Because I can get that, I can do. And where you still have the wrong in the background.
And it's very close to what I'm doing. It's really just like it's channeling it up a bit more. Yeah, and that sounds great too. I mean, there's definitely a mix of things going on, but, you know, you have this type of thing going on.
Oh,
yeah.
I can't wait to hear what you do with the 17-second scream.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what to take. Thought I was focused, but I'm scared. I'm not prepared.
More lower sensation.
I hyperventilate.
So
Looking
cool.
for help somehow, somewhere. And no one cares.
Like that.
I'm my own worst enemy. I've given up.
He's such a master of all of these styles of distortion.
Is there nothing you can say? Take this all away. I'm suffocated. Tell me what the fuck is wrong with me?
He's giving it his all, man.
I'm not wrong. The way he nasaled it up, right?
Yeah, it's like the SpongeBob voice placement.
But
Yeah.
he didn't do that the first time, and there's this extra like blood curdling.
That's part of what makes Chester so special is that he's mechanical, but also not mechanical about it. He's flying freely between all these different placements and types of distortion because he can, and he just does whatever feels right, whatever he sees fit.
And he feels, or he looks so intense when he's doing this. I think he is intense. He's giving 110%.
Yeah. Oh, always.
But there is this element of restraint when it comes to how he's screaming, and that's how he's able to hold things out for so long and get through the whole song. If he was giving up his entire vocal budget, we wouldn't be hearing what we're hearing. So it's that balance
It's
of
controlled chaos. Yeah.
being intense, but also showing restraint. I want to hear that again.
I'm suffocated. Tell me what the fuck is wrong.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Suffocated. Tell me what the fuck is wrong.
And he shows his teeth there too, and that's part of the sound.
And you hear him sliding down on the wrong. Yeah. Oh, it's just clawing at his own face.
Beautiful. One of a kind.
This riff is killer.
But that's a full-on scream.
All right, do that. Do the rangy.
So we're placing that, you know,
That's up here.
higher. I feel it. Again, it's like, so I'm taking, right, I'm starting from, and then adding some air. And then I sort of combine that with the power of a head voice shout. God! You know, God! Dirty it up until it's just fully distorted. You articulate with your head voice.
Okay.
Really, so it's not like, you know, you're not shouting
Yeah.
chest. You're like, God! It becomes that. and it's actually like less tension than you think because it's coming from a nice, light and free place. And that's the root of the scream, is the foundation.
Lightness.
Is that easy to do, controlled head voice shout that's nice and healthy and it doesn't hurt you, and then you're just you're adding that, sort of blending it, and it becomes like a full-on scream.
I like it closes that too.
Woo!
Okay.
So let's talk about that again. Remember how we were saying that it becomes a full-on scream? It's just sort of ramping it up, blending it. So instead of going full-on, he's pulling back the distortion just a bit on that head voice note. So that's where it's coming from, and then and just driving it about 80% of the rah. So and you get the pitch in there with the scream.
You look so relaxed doing this. He does not. I think some of that is. It's that he's really in the moment with the intensity of the song.
And I would be too, if I was live with my in-ears and sort of competing with a wall of sound, I'd be way more. But still, it's comfortable. I'm not straining. I'm just expressing more.
So if we go back to the "Put Me Out of My" section. We still hear the "Put me out of my misery." But on the "Put me out of my," there's way less note. He's removed that. Demonstrate that transition of being more full-on scream and then pitching that note when it goes higher.
Well, you can even hear him pulling back the distortion a bit when he says misery. So he's like, put me out of my misery. So he's just like controlling how much drive he wants in the moment. 80%, 70%, 90%, just fluctuating freely.
And then by the time he gets to the he's got more note in there, so you get that just wonderful blend. Can you build that? Yeah.
Just leaning back and forth until you find the blend that you like.
So take us from "Put me out of my" all the way through that misery part.
All right, so put me out of my. Put me! I'll sort of use my hand to determine how much drive. So if this is full drive, put me out of my fucking misery! And you see where it's coming from. Just really dialing in that drive. I think of it like a guitar pedal with distortion, and it's just you're tuning that knob, you're turning that knob as you see fit.
Sure.
And then, he's a master of it. So he's been doing this for so long, he can just snap to that perfect distortion setting that he wants.
Okay, so I'm going to time you.
Yeah, all right. All right.
You're going to start, you're going to put me out of my, and then you're going to go through the whole thing. We're going to see if you can get past the 17 seconds.
He's putting me through the test right now. All right.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Put me out of my fucking misery!
Yes!
Yeah.
Yes!
And that's essentially it. And I think no one does it better than Chester, but
No, but you did.
I'm aspiring. I'm working on it.
Oh, awesome.
And let's talk about that real quick. So
Yeah.
that's known as the 17-second scream on record and plenty of times live. But as a vocalist who's touring, you know, sometimes you're going to have days where you need to hold back a little bit just so you don't hurt yourself. Or maybe you're just feeling a different style in the moment. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with, you know, breaking it up when you see fit. That's just part of the vocal journey. And and it's strategic allotment. You know, maybe he doesn't want to spend 100% of his vocals in that moment because he's got like 8 more shows. And
Right, or 45 more seconds of this song.
yeah, or maybe he has a cold or, you know, whatever. But to its merits, it's still great and it sounds amazing and the talent is just palpable, you know?
And the way he came back in, the exit out of Misery, and then we've got the coming back in there was just, it was so what it needed. Like he was feeling it. It wasn't like he blew it.
No, and he's perfectly in key with the song. Like it's so controlled. Right, and that's just like, it's just beautiful.
Yeah. And there, I love how he started with the note and then pulled the rug out. Like
Right.
He pulled the note out. Can you?
Yeah, he's kind of, you know, backing off of that note at the end. It's another thing that could be breath preservation or style or a little bit of both, you know.
Or just awesome.
Just leaning out of the note to get that pure distortion, that primal sound at the end.
Yeah. Ugh. And it goes right back
The
in.
fact that he can just go right back into it, it just shows how healthy his technique is. Now, no matter how talented you are, like, you have to be in really good vocal and physical shape to do things like this, because your technique, you know, it could be awesome, but you still have to like have that stamina and endurance and that building that, because you could just as easily blow out your voice just from that one song,
Right.
if you're not in shape, if you haven't built that foundation.
And part of that is having good technique, right?
Yeah.
You're building stamina on the back of good technique.
Exactly. Yeah, it all sort of like goes hand in hand as you climb that ladder of vocal strength and stamina and muscle memory and everything in between.
Having you in the room, breaking Chester's performance for Giving Up Down.
Well, he's my number
one.
one guy, so the pleasure is all mine, my friend.
Again, if you would like to work more deeply with Andy, click the link below in the pinned comment or the video description and join his free warm-ups course.
Let's get into the weeds, let's learn, let's build together.